I worked at a gas station where no one loses the lottery. I used to work nights at the 24-hour Shell on the edge of Elmwood. Flickering sodium lights, the diesel stench that never quite left your clothes, the clock above the register stuck 3 minutes behind, like even time was too tired to move. A typical shift was nothing. Count the same pack of Marlboros for the third time at 4 a.m. Listen to the coffee machine gurgle like it was dying. Watch moths spiral into the bug zapper outside until the pop, pop, pop sounded like distant gunfire. Sometimes a regular drunk, old Ray, would stumble in, buy a tall boy and a single scratch-off he never won. He'd scratch it with his thumbnail, mutter next time, and shuffle back into the dark. Routine, safe, boring enough to make you forget how empty the streets sounded at 3 a.m. The scratch-off machine sat in the corner like it had always been there. Bulky, beige, older than me. Customers started calling it lucky after the first few big hits. Mr. Harlan came in every Tuesday like clockwork. Always the same. Marlboros, 1 ticket. Scratched slow and deliberate with a nickel he kept in his pocket, purposely stored. He'd hum tunelessly while he worked the foil, like he was coaxing the win out. One night he hit $50. Tip me a 10, said, see? Patience pays. Next week, $100. He started scratching slower each time, eyes fixed, like he was afraid to miss a silver flake. Harlan stopped coming by after he won a few more times, odd for a routine-driven guy like him. Sheriff Rowland stopped by now and then, always for a blue raspberry slushy mid-shift. This stuff never gets old, he said with a blue smile. I asked him about Mr. Harlan, given that this was the second Tuesday he didn't show. Mind if I ask you something, Sheriff? He set the slushy on the counter, adjusted his glasses. Long as it's not about parking tickets. Harlan used to come in every Tuesday, always the same time. I haven't seen him since he won a bunch of scratch-off tickets. This is the 3rd week in a row. Rowland watched the machine while I talked. Didn't look at me once. Trailer was empty when his employer reported him missing, he said finally. The lights in the house were all burning, and the fridge door open. That's weird. Anything out of the ordinary? I asked. His jaw tightened, just a little. Winning tickets on the dining room table, he said, like somebody left in a hurry. I pointed toward the corner where the machine rested. They came from that machine. He took a long pull from the straw, eyes still on the screen with his spectacles reflecting the light it emitted. People who catch a break don't always leave a forwarding address, he said. Some folks take the chance to disappear. He picked up the slushy and headed for the door. You worry too much, he added. This town does that to people. I watched him go, but the problem was Mr. Harlan wasn't the only one who'd caught a break. And he wasn't the only one who'd stopped coming back. Tammy from the diner across the street used to come in after her graveyard shift, still in her uniform, smelling of grease and cheap cigarettes. She'd buy a ticket, scratch it fast like it owed her money, laugh when she lost. After her $200 win, she started showing up later and later, alone, eyes glassy. This machine knows me, she told me once, voice low. Quit her job the next day. No one saw her after that. Another case was Jake, the mechanic. Loud enough that you always heard him before you saw him. A loud guy, always mentioned about how he just needed one more win to finally fix the shop for good. One night he hit $500, the biggest payout I ever saw from that machine. A week later, Jake was dead. His truck went straight off the ravine on Dew Pass. The news spread through town like the flu. People whispered about it. No skid marks, no swerve. Just tire tracks, arrow straight, disappearing over the edge. Most folks settled on the obvious explanation that he was drunk, blacked out, another senseless accident. But anyone who knew Jake knew better. He loved 2 things more than anything else: his truck and his work. Mr. Jones loved it. Sales tripled. He hung a little handwritten sign above the machine, Our Lucky Scratchers, with a winking emoji sticker. When I mentioned how many winners had vanished, he smiled that small, polite smile and said, People win. They move on. Life changes. You should play too, Night Boy. Maybe your luck is waiting. He said it the way someone offers you a mint after they've already slipped something in your drink. I thought about it longer than I should have. Tried to line things up. Still came up with loose ends. 3 people. Same routine. Same machine. All of it breaking the same way after they won. I told myself there were explanations. People change. People make bad decisions when money shows up. That's what everyone says. But Jake loved that truck. Loved it enough that he wouldn't even drink if he planned on driving it home. He lived 2 blocks from his shop, close enough to walk. So why did he drive up the mountain? I knew that there was only one way to find out what the hell was going on. I started testing tickets on slow shifts. First time I hesitated, stood there staring at the dispenser like it might bite. Just one, I told myself. See if it's really lucky. Used the same quarter every time, same spot at the counter, same slow scratch. The win felt like a tiny electric kiss, sharp, a rush, followed immediately by cold nausea crawling up my throat. It was the same feeling you get when you deliberately do something you're not supposed to. After the rush, it felt like the foil was scraping something inside my skull. My hands started shaking the way Tammy's hands shook. Convinced myself it was the energy drink. One slow night I tried to warn a guy, middle-aged, quiet, buying a stack for his wife's birthday. Hey man, I said, keeping my voice casual. Maybe skip these tonight. Weird shit's been happening with winners. He laughed. You trying to scare off business? Mister. Jones appeared from the back, calm as ever. He's joking. Play if you want. Luck's luck. The guy bought them anyway, never saw him or his family again. The machine started acting in a way that it wanted to be observed, screen lagging on animations, like it was thinking. Dispenser clicking when no one was near it. Soft, expectant. Every time when I turned my back to stock shelves, my skin prickled like someone was staring, as if a shadow was lurking behind me, a felt presence from a specific direction. My spatial awareness sharpened to a painful clarity. The bug zapper outside fell into sync with my breathing, pop on the inhale, pop on the exhale. Each crack of electricity landed somewhere deep in my chest, every sound and smell arriving amplified, distorted, wrong. I could feel each electrical impulse firing through my synapses, as if my nerves were no longer my own, but part of the current itself. One night, the power dipped. Everything died except the machine. Its screen stayed bright, cycling slower. I leaned close. For half a second the text changed. I went then back to normal. I would never forget the time a kid, maybe 19, came in around 3 a.m. He bought 10 tickets with crumpled 20s, scratched them one after another at the counter. The sound was intimate, slow scrape, scrape, scrape of coin on foil, each layer peeling back with a faint metallic sigh. The smell of fresh scratch-off film filled the air, powdery, chemical, distinctive. He won every single one. Laughed so hard he started coughing, bought more tickets, then continued scratching, like he couldn't stop. His fingers sped up, then slowed again, careful, deliberate. I knew something was wrong before his eyes went empty. He was smiling. He never stopped smiling. By the time I followed him outside, he was sitting in his Civic with the engine running, just staring down at the tickets spread across his lap. The smile was still there, pulled wider than it should have been, like his face had forgotten how to relax, or how to look normal. I watched the clock over the register roll forward and back again. He didn't move for almost an hour. I tapped the window. Nothing. His mouth moved, stretching soundlessly, working at words that never came. Mucus pouring out of his mouth, dilated pupils which can only be associated with the effect some kind of extreme drug. I called for an ambulance. They didn't arrive for 3 hours. By then, his hands were locked around the tickets, fingers curled tight like claws. The paramedics had to peel them loose one by one. After the incident, I couldn't sleep without dreaming about his face. Not screaming, not in pain, just that euphoric, vacant expression. I kept thinking about it afterwards. He was fine before he bought the tickets. I broke in on my night off. I still had the spare key from closing. The store was pitch black, except for the machine's haze. Its glow pulsed softly, slow and inconsistent, like it was breathing. I stood there longer than I meant to, weighing consequences I already knew I would ignore. I was drawn to it, to the light, to the smell of freshly printed hard paper, to the shimmer of silver foil and the dry whisper it made when peeled away. My mouth watered. The hair along my arms and neck stood on end. Tears pooled in my eye sockets as the urge to scratch and win swelled until it filled every inch of me. I acknowledged it, communicated with it without words. I wanted to obey it. Then a moment slipped past. What felt like a trance, a waking daydream where my body simply took over. My arm reached out on its own, fingers closing in on the print button. I tore myself away and yanked the plug from the wall, heart hammering. The cord came free cleanly. The screen stayed lit. "The fuck?" I whispered. I grabbed the broom from the storeroom and struck the screen. It answered with a dull, hollow thump. Something sounded back. A voice. Very close. Very patient. What came out of the machine could only be described as a distorted grunt. It spoke my name. First, middle, last, slowly, like it was reading from an old report card. Then it said my mother's name, the way she used to when I was little and in trouble. Soft, disappointed. The air thickened with the smell of it, powdery, metallic scratch-off foil. Undercut by something wetter, like coins left too long in a corpse's pocket. I froze. I clamped my hands over my ears, desperate to shut out the lie. It didn't sound like her, but I recognized it. The noise swelled anyway, forcing its way through the gaps between my fingers. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for something terrible. Light burned through my eyelids, searing white. I gave in to the weight of my body and folded forward, burying my head between my knees. This was it. Then it stopped. The light. The sound. I opened my eyes slowly. The store was full of cops. Mr. Jones told the cops I'd had an episode. He showed them the footage. Me standing alone in the dark, perfectly still, eyes fixed on something that wasn't there, whispering for 20 straight minutes. I didn't remember any of it. Not the words, not the time missing. Nothing. The cops gave me a warning and left it at that. No charges, no paperwork, just looks. Mr. Jones stood beside them the whole time, calm, smiling softly. When they turned to go, he gave me a little wink, like we shared something. I told myself I was grateful. Word spread fast. It always does in towns like this. Nightboy lost it. People started asking if I was okay, the way you ask someone with a rash if it's contagious. Mr. Jones stayed too calm. Customers complained about the missing machine. He told them it was under repair. It never came back. A few days later, I drove past the Shell at 2 a.m. Again, lights off except the corner window. A faint glow leaked out, the kind that doesn't come from fluorescent tubes. The silhouette inside was wrong. Too still, too patient. A new machine, maybe, or the same one, just rolled to the next stop on the line. Someone stood at the counter, scratching, slow, methodical. The coin moved in tiny, deliberate circles, like they had all the time in the world. Behind them, the shadow was taller now, not moving, just taller. I was drawn by it. I accelerated, didn't look back. But every gas station I pass, my fingers twitch for foil. Every time I blink, I see hands, dozens, hundreds, peeling silver in perfect unison. Faces stretched wide, grinning the way winners grin when the numbers finally line up. Mouths open too far, eyes too bright. They're still winning, still scratching, still whispering the names back to each other like a prayer they can't stop saying. The glow moves. It follows me. Late at night, I catch myself murmuring their names. Not mine. Theirs. Curious of what I escaped and why they failed. If you drive past one of those machines someday, you'll feel the pull. Just one ticket. Just to see. And when your fingers close around the foil, when the first silver flake curls away, you'll hear it. Your name. You won't win it. It will win you.